Hello, traders, and welcome to the Friday wrap-up, July 24th, 2015. Traders coming to you live from Pattaya, Thailand. Bright blue, sunny skies, white sandy beaches, and very hot today. Absolutely beautiful day outside. It's early in the morning for me, and it's great to be with you. This is brought to you through FXCL Excellence in Trading. Please come visit our site at fxclearing.com. Traders got over 15 daily charts to look at. Today, we're going to be talking about price action. Before we get started on that, let me introduce myself to you. My name is William Gilda. I am your moderator for the Friday wrap-up, which is done every Friday after the New York close. Traders, I started trading in the year of 2006, and in 2008, I retired from a wonderful 27-year career in the Fire Rescue Department out of the great state of Florida. Came to Thailand for a 3-month holiday. Well, traders, it's 2015, and I'm still here, loving living in Asia and retired. I trade the Forex markets every single trading day. In fact, I think I work harder now than I did when I was working. I absolutely love it. I look at charts, I'm listening to fundamentals, and I'm looking for probabilities and opportunities to enter trades that are like 70% that I can be in profit at the end of the trade. Do I win every trade? Absolutely not. I lose trades, traders. I lose trades. Anybody ever tells you they win every trade, they are lying to you big time. Okay? So make sure when you see somebody say, oh, I win every trade. Yeah, okay, hang up on them. Next. All right. It's a Saturday morning for me as I'm 11 hours ahead of the United States Eastern Standard Time. So having a great morning. It's early in the morning, but absolutely beautiful outside. I can't wait to get my work finished and head on out, and that will be shortly. All right, this is our risk disclaimer. Forex trading has a large potential rewards, but also a large potential risk. You must be aware of the risks and be willing to accept them in order to invest in the Forex market. Traders, most importantly, please do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Traders, always remember that past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, let's head over to the commentary. What a week we had. Quite some movements going on, a little bit more selling than the week before, as it looks like the Greece issue is finally taking shape, and it doesn't look like they're going to be leaving the Eurozone, and the creditors look like they're going to be working with them, and they're on their path. My concern is what happens 3 years from now. So, like when some of the stuff is due, who's going to, like how is this going to help? Like, because they really don't export much. They don't do a lot of exporting, and it's just, I don't know how they're going to pay it back. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm looking for an exciting week next week, and another full week of Forex. It's just been a great week. We've had some good moves this week on dollar strength, and then the last part of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we had dollar weakness. As it's earnings season, and all these big companies are putting out their earnings reports. And folks, remember we are macro traders. We trade the globe. So, people say, oh, I don't listen to earnings. That has nothing to do with Forex. Of course it does. It has a lot to do with Forex. And the big thing it does with Forex, it shows you whether we have dollar strength or dollar weakness. And if you have a bunch of these big companies, like Apple or Microsoft come out with bad earnings, it will affect our trading. So we have to pay attention to all of it. All right, we're going to take a look at some daily charts, and the purpose of this presentation is all about price action. What we're looking for is to see what's going to happen in the next week ahead, and we're going to take a look at that. So let's start with the euro dollar. Let me explain my charts to you if this is the first time you've seen the new charts that I've put together. Somebody in the live trading room actually gave me this EA, and basically all this is support and resistance. So the yellow lines are support and resistance depending where it is on the chart, and the red dotted line is just a mean line, and that's it. It's nothing to it. As you know, the green line on the chart has not changed. That's always been the 200 exponential moving average. Now, these are daily charts, so it's quite interesting here, but these are daily charts. A little concerning here because I'm bearish in the euro. I am bearish in the euro. And it looks like, we ended up with a close, and we've got a doji, and we've got this big wick. Now, when I see a big wick on a candle, that's like a little thruster. That's like little, airplane engine on the bottom there saying we're going to keep pushing price to the upside. So I would not be surprised if we can break this resistance, because if you look at where price stopped, it's right at a resistance line. If you drew a horizontal line across there, you can see that price has reacted to this price level before. So this is going to be very interesting to see as we go into next week. Really can't count on Monday, but we will on Tuesday. I did not take a look at what the data is coming out on Monday. I usually don't look at that until Monday. It's the weekend for me, folks. So I do this as an extra, and so I did not look at what data is coming out. Let's take a look at the dollar Swiss. I always like to take a look at the dollar Swiss because that should be opposite of what the euro is doing. And what we're seeing here, this is just in a solid range for the last 5 days, 6 days. It's gone up, it's come down, it's gone sideways, but it's just sitting on which is now a support level, and it's just sitting there. And so there hasn't been a lot of price action on the dollar Swiss, so it's basically been neutral. And I blame that on the dollar. I don't blame that on the Swiss. I blame that on the dollar because the dollar was so mixed this week again because of earnings. So we blame that on the dollar, and that's why we're seeing the sideways price action. I think you're going to see quite a few charts that you're going to see that are going to be sideways because of the earnings season. I think a lot of traders stayed sidelined this week, more than usual. So let's take a look at, I'll go to a pound dollar. Now remember, this is a daily chart, so you got to go back 5 candles, and that's all week, right? So if you take a look at the pound was bearish this week, and now the pound is closed with a doji, and it's below the 200 exponential moving average. So this, to me, if you take a look all the way up to the left of the chart, and you can see at the yellow line where prices come above it, it's come all the way down, and now it has fibbed that swing. So this is probably about at the 50% fib, and now it's coming back down again. But the biggest thing is that on Thursday, it broke the 200 exponential moving average, and now we close the week with a doji. So that's pretty relevant to what's going to happen here. This is going to be really interesting to see. So I don't think this is the pound. I'm thinking this is the dollar. But I have to tell you the truth, traders, I could be off on this. This could just be pound weakness. So we'll see. I'm sort of not sure which side we're at there. All right, so that's what's going on with the pound. So not quite sure if it's the pound or the dollar, but if you look at the last 5 candles, it's bearish, definitely bearish. So I'm looking sort of like this is going to go to the downside. All right, let's take a look at the dollar yen. As I always say, if you don't have a dollar index or a dollar pair on your platform, use the dollar yen. This is a really good indicator of what the dollar is doing. And I do have, our last slide will be a dollar chart. But you can see that for 4 days out of the week, we've had red days on the dollar yen. But also you can see, if you look left of the chart, that it's at resistance, and that that's an issue there. That it's definitely at resistance, and it's reacted to it. So is that it's not quite sure what's going on. Be careful with the yens. They're getting ready. They did a mini stimulus in the middle of last week. It really wasn't a big deal. But Kuroda is really like getting a lot of heat now because people aren't listening to them. And they're getting ready to do something. So just be careful if you're trading the yens. Just keep an eye out. And with that, let's head over to the euro yen. Not a bad week. I mean, this was an up week for the euro yen. It did bust through that 200 exponential moving average, but yesterday came back down again. And that's that's the euro side of the pair, right? The left side is the dominant pair. So that came back down. So we'll keep an eye on the euro yen. I love trading the euro yen. I do trade it a lot. It's a great pair to trade. When it's in its move, it trades really well, and we'll just keep an eye on it. But, like I said, this is now at the 200 exponential moving average, and what is it going to do? And it's below it. It closed below it, so I'm staying. The euro yen's been bearish for a long time. It gets its up moves, and then it gets its down moves, so it's not a pair that stays in one trending motion for a long, long time. Like the euro's been bearish for like the last year and a half. So that's what's going on with that. Let's take a look at another yen pair. This is the Beast. Traders, if you haven't been trading live 6 months, don't trade this pair, please. Do not trade this pair. Do it on a demo. This is a very volatile pair, and it will whipsaw you and beat you up. You really have to be on your game. Trust me, been there, done that, and have the T-shirt. So really be careful if you're going to play with the Beast, the pound yen. But as you can see, again, this is another pound chart that's bearish. So now I'm starting to think that this is pound weakness. So I don't think it has anything to do with the dollar. And I think it's all about the pound. So it looks like the pound is the one that is weak. So we'll just keep an eye on that. But, as far as trading this next week, and I don't trade the pound yen a lot. And I don't know why. It's just not on my 8. I keep 8 charts up on my screen that I pick that I trade, and the pound yen is not one of them. I have nothing against it. I think it's a great pair to trade. However, this pair at the moment I would say is bearish, and just be careful, or it's going to fib this last swing. So you just got to keep an eye on that. I would fib that and see where that mean line is. That looks like that's at about the 50% level. But we're not trading the daily chart. That's not the point of this video. We're talking about price action. And price action wise, I would stay bearish on this. Nothing saying to me that this is going to head back to the upside, other than Friday ended as a doji. Here's an Aussie yen. Anything with the Aussie, is kind of crazy. It's pretty funny that the Aussie is stronger than the yen, because the Aussie is so weak on everything else. But this is in a sideways price action, and it gained strength for 3 days out of the week out of the Aussie yen here. If you take a look at this, now this was data. Okay, the Aussie had data like 2 days in a row. Was it Wednesday and Thursday? Had data. So this was data release stuff that caused probably this the Aussie to get strong here. So I'm sorry, get weak. I'm sorry, I get confused what side I'm looking at. This is why it became weak, because of data. Data came out, and it was poor data, and that's why the Aussie is weak. But the Aussie's always weak, right? Everybody's bearish in the Aussie. There's no reason not to be bearish in the Aussie, right? Like, who wants to buy the Aussie? No one. Let's look at the Aussie dollar, right? Here's the Aussie dollar. This should tell you everything, right? There's no surprises here. Don't you wish you were in this like 2 months ago and at that median line at that doji, right? And you just shorted this thing and went away for a month and came back, and you'd be a really happy camper, because this thing is really jumping some pips. It has its up days, but on the norm, this pair is it's very, very bearish. And remember, it's a commodity pair, so it reacts to other data other than its own, and that's something you just have to really watch for, is that it reacts to other data other than their own, and it does, believe it or not, it absolutely does. For example, the Kiwi lowered its interest rates by 25 basis points this week, and of course you can see the red candle, and I think that was Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday, I think, was that release. All right, let's take a look at the Euro pound. I never used to look at this pair. Now I just look at it as, I don't trade the Euro pound. I think that's like putting two magnets together. But you can see here how the Euro's been weak, but it's had it had an up week. We had some nice blue candles here, but if you look at it spatially, this pair is bearish. So the pound is stronger than the Euro. But again, I think this is like putting two magnet heads together, trying to keep them together, and it just doesn't work. And that's what's going on with that. Let's take a look at this now. You want to talk about a pair that we wish we would have been in a long time ago, and that's the New Zealand dollar. Just take a look at this baby. This baby is just so bearish. And, the thing that gets my attention is if you look at Thursday, which is the second candle in, look at that big doji. Look at that big wick, right? So, like I said, look at those wicks as like engines, like thrusters. And what happens? Friday comes along, and we get a red candle. Like, really pay attention to candlesticks. And candlesticks are not a big thing. People make a big deal over candlestick patterns. there's like only like 7 candlesticks formations that you really need to know, and that's it. You don't need to know even the names of a doji. You just need to know it's a doji, and where it's at. The doji in the middle of a downtrend doesn't affect me. But if I got a doji at support, which we have, on Thursday here, this is at support. So this definitely affects our trading, right? This would affect what I'm going to do the next day. I would expect to have a red candle the following day when you see that big wick like that, and there it is. Friday gives us a red candle. Let's look at the loonie, the dollar CAD. I was listening to somebody in a trading room and the moderator, and it was really amazing. He's been in this dollar CAD for a very long time, and he's just getting out of it. And I think that's because a lot of people are thinking that the dollar is going to weaken here shortly, or just stay stable, like just don't do anything. So they're expecting the dollar maybe to just stay where it's at and not do a thing. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But the dollar CAD, look at this move to the upside. Again, too bad we weren't in this 2 months ago, to the upside. But if you look, the upswing is nice and it looks good and that's all great. But if you look at the rest of the chart, left of the chart, this pair is ugly pair to trade. I mean, it's all over the place. It's not a trending pair as a norm. So this is a nice move on the dollar CAD. And again, it all has to do with dollar strength. Remember that, folks. It all has to do with dollar strength. That's why it's so important. And even on the non-dollar pairs, that you keep an eye on the dollar. What is it? Is it strong or is it weak? And it's really important. No matter what pair you're trading, you need to know what the dollar is doing. Here's the pound Aussie. I do trade this. I think this is a great pair to trade because the dollar is weak and the pound is strong, right? I mean, the norm is that the pound is strong and the Aussie we know is weak. So this is just an awesome pair to trade right here. I don't know why the spread is so big on this this pair, like really crazy. The spread on this, but if you take a look at this chart, you can absolutely see that the Aussie's been weak for a very long time, over a year now, like the euro, and you can see on this chart it's proven itself that the pound is definitely stronger than that. And this look at that candle on Friday. I mean, I don't expect this to like head down. I don't expect a red candle on Monday or Tuesday. I expect this to continue its motion. It looks like it's taking out the high, and it's just going to keep on moving. It might pull back one day and then keep moving, but this to me looks like it's just going to keep moving up. Here's the Euro Aussie. I do trade this on a regular basis. It's a pretty neat pair to trade. The issue with the Euro Aussie is you just have to trade what's in front of you. That's the secret with the Euro Aussie, as this was a nice up week with the Euro Aussie. Really uptrend, 5 days, up candles. Really nice. It's taking out the high. So I expect this to continue. But a great pair to trade. Absolutely great pair to trade. It is on my 8 pairs that I scan, that I can watch all day long. But you just have to trade what's in front of you with it. Like don't go away from what it's doing, and always look at higher time frames. I look at the daily chart on everything before I do anything. I always look at the daily chart. Before I make any trade or I do anything, I always look at the daily chart, see what's going on. Here is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Look at this dollar pair. Look at the last 5 days on the dollar. Yeah, weak, right? All red candles. Friday ends up as a doji, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? All indecision candles, right? The dollar is weak. It's just sideways. And I bring this back to its earnings season. And last week, 30% of the companies that report their earnings came out in 1 week. Now, that we knew that going into Monday. So we were expecting this. And so I think the volatility in the markets was a lot less we expected. And this is why we can see the dollar is just absolutely sideways and the candles are horrible. So, again, it'll be interesting to see as we get back to normal, hopefully next week. But, we still have another 2 weeks of earnings. Earnings isn't over. It's just that the high impact companies like Apple and Microsoft and Morgan Stanley, they've all have done earnings already. Google, all that stuff. Their earnings are out, so the big companies are out. So, but we still have another 2 weeks of earnings. But I think as far as the dollar goes, we'll get back to some sort of normal capacity here, and we'll see how it goes. All right, traders, I want to thank you for joining me on a Friday after the New York closing. For me, it's early Saturday morning. Enjoy your weekend break. Enjoy your time with friends, loved ones, neighbors, even the guy driving by. Just wave to him and say hello. And have a great weekend break. Traders, remember this is brought to you through FXCL Excellence in Trading. Please come visit us at fxclearing.com. Traders will catch you for the market opening preview every single trading day before the end of the day. See you for Monday, or it could be Sunday evening in the United States for the next Asia session. Take care, folks.